What's up, CHFFL, and welcome to Week 8 of the 2021 season. Week 7 had some very interesting matchups, big discrepancies in terms of points, and we are in the thick of interleague play as this week and next week consist entirely of interleague matchups. Let's wrap up Week 7 before we get to those. I went 5-1 with my predictions, bringing me to 25-17 on the season, starting to be a little happier with that. And it's the same way as predicting how NFL games are going to go. Once we have more data, it becomes a little easier to say who's going to win week to week. The team of the week was Banis with 156 points, barely beating out Derek and I. We won the game of the week against Grant to stay alive in the Faculty Lounge Conference, and we had 155 points. Max also with 154. We're starting to see some high scores from some teams. We had a trade come in this week where Parker gets Joshua Kelly and Grant's 10th round pick. Grant gets Devontae Booker and Parker's 15th. This is Grant kind of following my lead and trying to stay alive as long as possible. He's got a very tough matchup with Stan this week and looking for a spot start with Booker before Barkley comes back. I like it. I like the aggression. Waivers this week, not too interesting. Ricky Seals-Jones went to Swan on Thursday after the Wednesday waivers cleared for $18. Nobody else bid there. Marty got Devin Singletary for $15. There were a couple other bids, but he got him by a comfortable margin. And then Grant picks up Michael Gallup for $5. Now, let's get into the matchups. We'll start with the 3 games that have a little more separation to them. First, my clip game champions against Minnie's Silky Johnson. Kyler Murray, only 9 on Thursday. The Arizona passing attack, a little disappointing. David Montgomery is still out, which makes Herbert a nice flex or running back 2 for Derek and I. I think that we can pick up this win this week without too much worry to stay alive one more week. Let's move on now to Grant. Rick James Couch versus Stan. Miss Neeson's Cookies. This is a David versus Goliath matchup. Stan's team is stacked front to bottom. Grant got 31 on Thursday from Aaron Jones, his defense, and his kicker. And Booker and Goddard now that Ertz is out. Goddard's moving up the tight end charts. These are good additions to Grant's lineup. But I'm looking at Stan not missing anybody big for an injury or bye week. He's at full strength, and I have to take Stan to roll here. Next, we have Wayne Brady versus Genie's Bunch of Good Boys. JD is rolling with 4 now IR-eligible players sitting on his bench instead of in his IR slots. So he's flexing Jonnu Smith, putting Kyle Pitts in at tight end or reverse. But either way, he's starting 2 tight ends instead of picking somebody up. Wes is at full strength. It seems like one where he should be able to roll. The only thing that could be interesting is that JD has the Rams defense at Houston. And sometimes defenses can just put up ridiculous scores, so that could be a concern, but I think Wes gets the win here. Now let's move into any of these 3 games could have been the game of the week. All very important and should be very close. First, Clayton Bigsby's Tricksters versus Chuck Taylor's Shama. Pa got 15 from Chase Edmonds on Thursday. Nice as Arizona relied more on the ground game, but he doesn't have Devontae Adams this week. Marty only got 8 from DeAndre Hopkins. He normally would expect for a lot more. And he's missing Hollywood, on bye. But Jerry Jeudy's coming back from IR. I'm wondering to see if Marty will put Jeudy in his lineup or not. And big question, Dak, Sunday night, is he going to play? He's still questionable. That puts fantasy owners in a very difficult spot because if you have to pick up the backup. If you have an IR spot where you can put Dak, or if you have somebody else you can drop. I think Dak's going to play, though, and I'm taking Marty based off of that. Next, Mark's Poppin' to the Moon versus Swan's Ashy Larry's Snake Eyes. Mark got 6 on Thursday from Mason Crosby in the kicker spot and finally gets Nick Chubb back after he missed a few weeks. But Mark is down a few players. He's really banged up. Swan is even worse, though, with Darren Waller, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Jacobs on a bye. McCaffrey still sitting in the IR. He is about half strength at best. What could keep this interesting, and it will no matter what keep this interesting, is that Swan has CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson going at each other on Sunday night. So we're going to have to wait to the late games to know what this matchup is going to look like. I'm taking Mark to hold on, but he's going to be watching the Sunday night game and shaking in his boots the whole time. Now, the game of the week, I have Tyrone Bigum's Crack Stars versus Wickers Knickers, Brad versus Max. I thought this was appropriate because they both scored over 150 last week. Both 4-3. Max gets only 7 from his tight end slot on Thursday. Otherwise, no one's played. And it's the running backs versus receivers here. Max, Jonathan Taylor, James Robinson, Cordero Patterson is a hybrid running back receiver, but they've been really good this season. And for Brad, Mark Andrews on a bye. He's got Hunter Henry, though, should be okay. And his wide receivers, Mike Evans and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, I never understood why he dropped so far in so many fantasy experts' rankings, but he's showing to be the high pick you spent on him was worth it. And Mike Evans with Antonio Brown out has really stepped it up for Tampa Bay. I'm taking Brad. This should be a nail-biter. Should be 3 really good games this week. Best of luck to everybody. We'll see you for week 9.